In today's video, we're going to talk about medical debt appearing on your credit reports, and I'm also going to give you some insider information about the issue with United Health, which was just a very unfortunate situation that happened with the CEO of United Health, and how this is crazy because with my other company, I've actually had interactions with Mr. Thompson's office, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about that. And I'm also going to tell you about a personal experience that my wife and I had with UnitedHealthcare as potential customers of UnitedHealthcare. And then I'm going to also talk about the Cfpb, something that they're trying to do right now before President Biden leaves the office. They want to kind of seal this rule in when it comes to medical debt. So this is very important. It does not matter if you don't have any medical problems or medical issues right now. Medical debt is going to be something that will hit all of us. It has hit me and my family, and we had to take care of it. And no matter what, and also regardless if you have insurance or not, there's going to always be a portion that the individual is responsible for. So this video is very important. I think that it touches everybody. At some point in your life, it is going to touch you when it comes to medical and medical debt. So first, I'm going to talk about my experience with UnitedHealthcare on the consumer side. Some of you know, unless you're new to the channel, my wife had a double lung transplant, and before she, early in when she was going through her issues, we were looking at different insurances to upgrade insurance from the plan in the company that we were with before. And we reached out to United Health, and my wife was turned down for health insurance because of her weight. At that time, her lungs were not, at the low end where they, where it got to where it got to, and before she got to her transplant in 2019. But they turned her down solely because she didn't weigh the amount that they thought that she should weigh at her age and her size. So she weighed less. Now, my wife at that time, I believe, was somewhere around 100 pounds because she was due to her situation with what she was going through with her lungs. Her heart rate was always at like 125 and up. If you know what 125 and up, that means like when you're trying to exercise, they say get your heart rate up. My wife's heart rate was always up. So she could eat anything and she wouldn't gain any weight. And before she had her transplant, she had actually went down to close to 78 pounds. I mean, so it was drastic. But here's the deal, is that we reached out to get UnitedHealthcare insurance because we, at that time thought it was the best that was being provided. This is my own personal opinion. We found that was not true because the company that we're with now is like great. But the problem that I had at that time was that we were not asking for any subsidized policies. The policy that they offered before they turned us down, we were going to be paying about $1,800 a month. So if you times $1,800 a month times 12, you could see the amount that we were going to be paying on our policy. And I don't remember at the time how much they were going to cover, what was going to be our deductible, but that was what we were going to pay because of her condition. In the end, they said, well, we'll take you, but we won't take your wife. And I was like, well, we're not, if you don't take my wife, I'm not going to sign up for your insurance. So long story short, we got that taken care of, and we got with a couple of great companies. We've been with a couple of companies since, but we're with all of those have been great. They've actually had to listen to my wife's doctors when there were certain things that they would not approve just straight up from when you made the request. There was always hearings, and in those hearings, my wife's doctors fought, and also my wife was able to make statements, and we ended up getting her the care that she needed, right? For number one, the transplant, and then number two, the aftercare. The aftercare, just for the medications that she has to be on a daily basis, is upwards about $15,000 per month. $15,000 a month. $15,000 a month. The surgery, when we looked at the total cost from what we were able to see for the surgery, was around close to about $2 million. From what I saw, up to a certain point was about 1.5, and it was 2 million. Now, here's the crazy thing that might blow your mind, and why people get upset with insurance companies. With all of that, before they crashed it and tore it up with the affordable health care, there was a mechanism inside of that, even if you didn't buy the insurance that way, that the insurance companies overall, if they didn't spend 80% of their income that came in on medical expenses, they had to give rebates. So with everything that I just told you, even with the good companies that we got with, and with those expenses that my wife, that the insurance had to pay for my wife's surgery and the medication, we still got a rebate because the insurance company spent less than 80% of their overall gross on medical expenses. And what President Obama had written into the law was, what they used to do is that 20% or whatever they saved, it all went to bonuses. But what he had written in there, it said that you had to give a portion of that, not all of it, but you do your good, nice bonuses, but a portion of it went back as rebates to the individual policy holders. And I remember I was like, one of the times on Facebook, I had showed a check that I got that took care of 2 months of the premium that I paid because of that. But now, they wiped it out. They took all those provisions out, and Biden wasn't able to get them back in because they did not have Congress. So, I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. So that's on that side. So that's my interaction, me and my wife, with United on the consumer side. Now, I have a company that's in the medical industry, and I had direct conversations, not with Mr. Thompson, but with his personal secretary and his team, about something that I saw with another department, the way that they were handling business. And I was like, businessman to businessman. And obviously I was, trying to do some work with them, but I just said, hey, regardless if we do business or not, I believe businessman to businessman, you should know what I've experienced with one of your departments. And let me tell you, Mr. Thompson's office took that to heart. Like, his personal secretary called me on the phone and said, if you have any issues, you call me directly and I'll get it to him. This is what she said. This is what she said. And with those other departments, from what I found, now this is my own opinion. This is my own opinion. So this is not where I'm going to say that it's 100% factual of what's going on, because I'm not inside of those departments. But I can tell you that there are certain things that are going on that Mr. Thompson did not know about, that was actually ruining the name of United. And then when I saw the news stories, it said that United nationwide has the worst rating. So the biggest company has the worst rating, and some people would say, well, because they got more clients, they got a bad rating. That, yes and no on that. from my interaction with with one of those departments and the individuals, like the way that they were talking, the way that they didn't care about certain things that was being pointed out to them, and the way that they were carrying on with business, I'm surprised that there's not some other things that are going to start blowing up pretty soon with United internally. So now I'm going to move on from that. I just wanted to let you know about my experiences with dealing with United because it's just huge in the news. Now, this also circles around to a ruling that the CFPB wants to put in place. They had been working on it, but they want to cement it in place before President Biden leaves office. And it has to do with medical bills being reported on your credit reports. Just so you know, this option, this rule is not cemented. It is not cemented right now. And with the way that it is looking, because something that you may not know about is that when Trump won, there was a suggestion made from Congress. I forget who is the leader of Congress, said that they wanted to put all rulings on a 90-day pause that the CFPB was looking at putting into action. That they wanted to do that. I think it's Johnson. They wanted to put all of that stuff on pause, like anything with fintech companies, anything with loans, anything with credit reporting, anything with being able to sue, to not be able to sue people. A lot of the consumer things that they were doing to try to slow down what companies were able to do to individuals, they wanted to put all of that stuff on pause for 90 days. The one that stuck out that they're still they were like, hey, that's just a suggestion. We want to still push this one because this is going to help a lot of consumers, which is putting medical information on the credit reports. Because CFPB believes is that they're saying that these are things that people in a way don't have control of, if they have their insurance didn't come through like they were supposed to. It was a medical emergency. These are things that will disproportionately hurt people who are not in a good financial situation. And it's really no fault of their own. And all of us need help at some time or another medically. And so the CFP's position on it was that they were just like, this issue with having medical stuff on someone's credit report is not really a true indicator of the individual's financial situation. Now, my opinion on that is different, but I can see their point because they might be saying I'm going to get to it on these medical bills. I'm paying a premium, and then this is stuff that I got to pay later. I'll get to it later. I'm going to concentrate on all of my other bills. I think that that's the mindset that they have. For me, my mindset is all of your bills that you got, you do your best on them. But if this is a bill that you have, this is something that you got to put in the priority list because you're going to want to come back around to those medical providers, especially like with my wife's situation. Every year we got to pay, I believe, $8,000 deductible before the insurance start to take care of everything. So no matter what, and remember what I said, $15,000 in prescription with the medication. The first hit, we're taking the first two hits, or 2 and 90%. We're taking those hits automatically, and so but that's just the price that we got to pay, and we make it a priority. So the CFPB said that they don't want to have medical debt put on credit reports, and also they wanted to have some sort of provision to just really stop companies from suing individuals over medical debt, that they just wanted to stop doing that. So they have taken action, and they wanted to talk to the credit bureaus about not putting medical debt on there, and they ended up settling with a threshold where they had the $500 and below rule is what they had in place. But lobbyists and other organizations that are medical providers and debt collectors who collect on medical debt stated that is not, that's not right. You know, it was one of those things like, well, why are you going to protect these people and not protect these other people? And the thinking was, well, if it's $500 or less, we don't need to have that affect anybody. Medical debt collectors, they're like, forget that. Or the medical provider, they're like, we want to be able to hang that over the people's head. And the number one way that we can hang it over their head is to put it on their credit reports. Isn't that true? If we can put it on their credit reports, hang it over their heads, more willing to have to pay it, or at some point have to end up paying it. So from what I've used to see in the past, medical debt used to be blasted over people's credit reports. They would break it down into each service, like someone went and they had different services at the hospital, and they would have like 10 to 15 different things for the same procedure. Same procedure. So you could just imagine how that would destroy their credit, because even though it was the same procedure, all of the services have to happen at the same time, because medical providers segment those into different departments to do their billing. And if that individual didn't pay, even if it was deductibles, they could be broken down into different departments. So when they put that on the individual's credit reports, it was just like, man, it's just done blew up their credit, like a bomb exploded and just tore their credit up. So right now what they're trying to do is they're trying to maintain, number one, the $500 rule. But as it's looking right now, and I've seen some people may disagree, but I have a client right now, that had one that was under 500 and they had one that was over 3,000, and both of them were placed on their credit reports, both of them. Now, there's certain things that you could do to get that information taken off, but I'm just talking about the top line, that it is showing up on credit reports because the debt collectors who do this, and right now with where the CFPB is kind of hanging on a string, even if they don't get shut down, their power and ability to be able to do things is going to be severely limited. And you can look back at the video that I made yesterday or day before, and I show you news reports from people who are on the inside that are talking to people on Trump's team. I'm talking about Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. I think that's how you say his name. Like, they're like his right and left hand man, and they're both saying that the CFPB should be deleted. So even if they can't delete it, that was the words that they used. If they can't delete the CFPB, you better bet that they can minimize the power that they have by having a directive of saying that we don't want you getting into certain business in certain situations, like straight up. So when that happens, and then businesses start to see, well, there's not any regulation right here, and everybody voted to not have regulations, this is the end result of it. This is what's going to end up happening. So if we move forward on what we need to do, the actions that we need to take, I'm about taking action. Number one, I want you to have a goal of 2025 or whatever year you're watching this video, that's going to be the year, is to start working on your credit. Because if you work on your credit and you have good credit, the rest takes care of itself. Let me explain why. It's very simple. It's very simple. People with good credit pay less for the same things that people with bad credit pay more for. People with good credit pay less for the same things that people with bad credit pay more for. So that means that if you have good credit and you're paying less than what people with bad credit pay more for the same things, that means that you're keeping money in your pocket. It is truly that simple. And I've experienced that in other people that are my clients, other people that have just taking it upon themselves to repair their own credit or to get their credit repaired somewhere else, they solidly understand that the foundation for them to be able to save money, generate wealth, save for retirement, have a good lifestyle, to be able to take care of their kids, groceries, food on the table, mortgage if they want to buy a house, or they want to make sure that they stay in a good neighborhood and pay the rent and be able to afford all of that stuff, is to have good credit. Like it is so simple that it just goes right over a lot of people's head. It is so simple. Get your credit in order first, no matter how long it takes, because there's going to be more time later. But what are you going to do with the time right now living with bad credit and a low credit score? Take care of that. That's your foundation. Once you have that foundation, stuff will just fall into place. Like, imagine going to go get a loan and you know that you're going to get approved, and so it's not about you getting approved. It's about, do you want my business, and you're going to charge me less interest. When you charge me less interest, I keep money in my pocket. That's how you got to be thinking. If you start to think that way, your life is going to change, because number one, you have your power back. You have your power back as the consumer, not where you're at the behest of people saying, oh, I'm doing you a favor to be able to get you approved for this, or doing you a favor to, no, you're not doing me a favor, because my credit stands to A1. So that means that I'm doing you a favor. You gotta earn my business. I talked about this story before when I went to get an RV. Because of my wife's situation, we were like, let's use an RV. She can't fly. Now she can fly, though, but we got the RV, and it's been a lot of fun, and we still use it every summer, going to different campsites, and we pretty soon we're going to be just like traveling around the country in it. And the company looked at my credit, 834 credit score, and they came with an interest rate, and I already had it in my mind. I said, I want you to do better. And this is what the guy did. He turned around. This is the finance guy, turned around and said, do we got any of those coupons? You know, it ain't no such thing as a coupon, but they gave a coupon to, quote unquote, so-called coupon to lower my interest rate even lower another point. And then guess what happened even later is that the company who did the financing contacted me later and said, you know what? You deserve to even get a lower score. Have you ever heard of any company doing that? I was happy with the percentage that they gave me. It was already very low. I mean, it was low. And then to have the finance company call me up and say, you know what, Mr. Williams? With that 834 credit score, we want to go ahead and help you save more money. Have you ever heard that happen? I had it happen to me again with my Citibank card. My Citibank credit card sent me an email, and they said, Mr. Williams, no, they sent me a piece of mail. I might have it still sitting here. They sent me a piece of mail, and they said, Mr. Williams, even though you pay off your cards every month, we still want to offer you, for your cards that you have, we want to give you a 3.9% interest rate on a credit card. 3.9%. So if you do want to carry over your balance, now, yes, they want to probably do that to get me to carry over the balance, but has your credit card company offered you a 3.9% interest rate? Your credit, I'm not talking about some credit union or, I'm talking about Citibank. 3.9% on my credit card, and I'm also getting rewards on that card. Has that been offered to you? Well, think about this. Why was it offered to me? Because I have the foundation of an 834 credit score across the board. Let me tell you another one that happened to me. I have an American Express card. They have this little section in there. And they called me up and they said, Mr. Williams, did you know that there's a section inside of American Express where you can type in and say any amount and you can see if you'll get approved, so you don't have to worry about getting approved. So I just said, okay, well, let me just test this out. Thank you, number one, for letting me know, and then I'll go and test it out. And I typed in $50,000. It said, you're approved. I typed in $100,000. It said, you're approved. I typed in $200,000. It said, you're approved. I typed in $300,000. It said, you're approved. And then I typed in $400,000, and it said that you've reached your max for doing this today. And I was like, okay. So then the next day I went back and I typed in $500,000, and it said, you're approved. And then I went and I got my different cards, because I have different American Express cards. And I was like, okay, let me try this for each of the cards. And they all said that I can charge $500,000, no questions asked. So just think, what if I was a real estate investor or something, and I wanted to go buy a piece of property, hold it, get it fixed, repaired, or maybe it didn't even need much repairs, and then put it right back up for sale and pay American Express their money back. I could do that. That's generating wealth off of other people's money. Everybody talks about OPM, other people's money. I could do that right now with 10 different houses that cost $500,000. Say that $500,000 and they were going to sell for $1 million after they were fixed. I could do that 10 times right now if I want to do that. I'm not doing that. I'm not in the real estate business, but I'm just trying to get the point across to you. That foundation, the foundation of that is from having good credit. You've heard the saying before, when you don't need money, the banks and the credit lenders and everybody will throw money at you. They will take my money, please. The reason why, this is the mindset behind that, is that when a person handles their money, and the first place they look is your credit scores, and then they look at how you're handling your money, they want to give you money because they're like, this person knows how to handle money. And when we give people who know how to handle money back, we always make some money back. So even with American Express and Citi that I pay them off every month, they still take a piece of the money from the vendors that I use the cards on. So they don't make as much off of me because I don't carry a balance. But if I was not their client and I'm already spending this money with these vendors, they would not make any of the money. So that's what these cards understand. And if they have an individual who is very good at, using their money, and they would just say, hey, let me just use the credit cards to do it, that's what they will do. They just throw all types of money at you to be able to get you to use, to either take loans or do it. Like if I was not good at managing money, and if I was just crazy with taking these offers, probably on a monthly basis, anywhere between $100,000 to $300,000 being offered to me just in offers. Just in offers. Just here, take the money. All you gotta do is sign here. I don't do it because I'm about managing the money, and I'm just not going to get stuff that I don't need with having all of these cards and stuff. All of the stuff that I have, I utilize for business or for personal, for things that I want to get from myself or my wife, stuff like that. But it's not overboard, because again, you can make a lot of money, but if all of your money is going out and paying for stuff, you're just in the same situation. I went through that in the 90s. So my expenses are very low on a month-to-month basis. Very low. Like my income to expenses is like 5%. So 5% of my total income is used on expenses. And I'm talking about with groceries, everything. 5%. 5%. I learned my lesson. So now, you want to get yourself in a position. You want to build a foundation. If you want to start repairing your credit, go to my website, thecreditrepairshop.com. Link is below this video. Get signed up. Let's get to working on this so you can start building that foundation. We're going to help you. We're going to do everything possible legally, nothing that you're going to have to look back on to get you into the position to build that foundation. Once you have that foundation, you're off and running. You can, have that control back, and you have that power as the consumer. If you don't have your credit reports and scores, you got to know what's on all 3 credit reports and scores. Go to the website, yourthenumber3scores.com. The link is below this video to get your TransUnion, Equifax, Experian credit reports and all 3 scores. If you have debt collectors coming after you, grab my 3-pack of letters. Statute of limitations letter, debt validation, and cease and desist collection activities letter. You could use those to stop debt collectors early in the game. I do ask for a donation on those, and I do thank everyone who gives me a donation on those, because it can save you time, money, and frustration. If you're getting sued by debt collectors, you can go to my website, thecreditrepairshop.com. In the live chat, you can click there, leave us a message, leave your name, phone number, upload a copy of the summons so we can see how we can help you. We'll review it, give you some information, and see how we can help you with that. Please like the channel. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, post your questions and comments. This is Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of thecreditrepairshop.com.